So, hello guys. In 1997, Hollywood decided to make another Batman movie. Yeah. And the movie is well known for being one of the worst movies ever made. It's an abysmal movie. It truly is a bad movie. It's just awful. I sometimes I wonder if the screenwriters weren't challenged to put in the most amount of cheesy one-liners in one movie ever. They made Batman look like a pompous fool. They made a female villain in Poison Ivy that couldn't thrive without sexual innuendos. They made her look stupid. They made a schoolgirl to all of a sudden be a Bruce Lee martial arts expert without any training. Alfred was able to make a heap of vehicles in a Batgirl costume, even though he was sick and eventually bedridden. Come on. They somehow made the audience hate George Clooney more than we already do. They made Robin look like an immature school kid that constantly threw tantrums. The list goes on and on. The movie is awful. It's the only Batman movie that I don't own, besides the one that came out before it with Val Kilmer. The screenwriters succeeded on all points. They did everything possible to make this movie terrible. And of course, they made a game for the PlayStation 1, and that's what this review is going to be based on. Yeah, here's the cover. And look at that grin. Look at George Clooney's face there. He knows this game was shit. He knows the movie was shit, but he doesn't care because he got paid. You smug motherfucker. Gotham City. Everybody's favorite fictional New York. A dark, crime-ridden metropolis shithole. But yet, Batman's home. Oh no, and what is happening right now? There is just chaos being created in the streets of Gotham. What could it be? What villain could it be? Could it be the Joker? Wait, this game's based off of Batman and Robin, so I'm guessing it's Mr. Freeze. And what do you know? Looks like it's time for Batman to save the day. Yes sir, kids. The first thing you're gonna notice when playing this game is how dark it is. You feel blind as soon as you start playing this game. It's really dark, like really dark. And I mean like Nelson Mandela dark. The first thing you're going to want to do when you start playing this is going back to the main menu screen and turning the brightness up. This game was created so dark that the developers knew they had to add brightness in on the main menu. Now, besides the darkness, the most glaring issue to this game, for me, is probably how stiff Batman is, and how hard he is to control. In the movies, Batman is flexible. Batman is a badass. Batman can do all. In this game, you feel, literally, like a weak, pathetic, handicapped little old lady. The controls in this game are so abysmal that turning, something as simple as turning, is a chore. Not only are the controls shit, but the camera angles are shit as well. You have to turn, and in order to get the camera to view the way you're going, to point the way you're going, you have to start moving. So the camera won't point in the direction that you're headed until you start moving. This becomes a huge nuisance when you're fighting a lot of enemies in this game, and it makes it frustrating, and it makes it hard, and it will piss you the fuck off. The AI in this game is awful. It is some of the worst you'll ever see. The enemies in this game are dumb. They are dumber than a second coat of paint. Sometimes you'll watch them just run and try to find you and try to get to you, and they don't even know how to walk around something like a stone or a pole. They don't know how to get to you. They don't know what they're doing. The AI is terrible, and these enemies are as worthless as hen shit on a pump handle. If the enemies in the movies were as dumb as the enemies in this game, the movies would have been the most boring, bland, monotonous films ever. Unfortunately, the developers of this game thought it was necessary to add the option to play as Batgirl. Who in their right mind would want to play as Batgirl in a Batman game? The vast majority of the people that bought this game and played this game were men. And it's just sad. It just sucks. I mean, you spent, back then we spent $50 on this game. We expected so much from a Batman game. The previous Batman games, for the most part, were good. And then we got this. This fucking blonde-haired bimbo. Out of nowhere, out of left fucking field, you see this in the game. Wait, what is wait a minute, what is she doing? What is Batgirl doing? Oh no. Oh no, she sees a store. That poncho looks nice. Look at that leather purse. Wow, such a nice selection. I guess I'll come back when they're open. In the meantime, it's time to save people in Gotham City. Na 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 purple bike. Na 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 bleached blonde hair. Na 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 bulimic whore. Na 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 birth control. Na 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 Vagisil. Na 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 bulimic whore. Bulimic whore. Bulimic whore. One of the slightly cool things that this game does at least do good is the fact that the game is an open world game, but it was made in 1998. So it was a rare thing to see at the time. So it was somewhat innovative. There aren't very many PlayStation 1 games that are truly open world, and this game is somewhat open world. In terms of size, it's probably not as big as Driver or Driver 2, but it still is rare to see. And the fact that you get to drive the Batmobile is cool. But with that being said, the controls for the Batmobile aren't much better than the controls for Batman himself. The controls for the Batmobile are laggy, they're sluggish, and they're unresponsive. And you're constantly getting attacked by these armored cars, by these guys on these motorcycles, and it's rather weird with all the constant exploding cars once your Batmobile touches a fellow vehicle on the street. And one last glaring issue I found with this game. In order to simply be able to fight, you have to press the L2 button on your PlayStation 1 controller in order to go into fighting mode. And there's also a detective mode. You press L2 to switch these two modes, and what happens is when you're in detective mode, you can press X on doors and open them, press X on buttons and it'll show clues, press triangle to jump. But if you're in detective mode, you can't fight, you can't punch, you can't even run. Why the fuck do you have to be in one of these modes to why the fuck do you have to make sure you're in one of these fucking modes in order to do these simple fucking things? There's just too many different things to do with these buttons in this game. And it sucks when you're in the middle of a fight and you have to press L2 to be able to jump. To be able to go to a different menu, to be able to jump. It's a nuisance, it's bullshit, and it shouldn't be. So if you want to play a vintage Batman game that is actually good, that is actually worthwhile, play The Adventures of Batman and Robin for the Genesis or the Super Nintendo. That's a vintage Batman game. This, well, yeah, you get it. So, thanks for watching, please subscribe, and goodbye, my friends.